Hi, I'm Stefany, owner of DMC Travel Tailor, and today I'm here with Karen Bull, founder of Island Luxe. Karen represents fabulous properties with personality all over the Caribbean, and she herself is known as the Queen of the Caribbean. So, Karen, can you tell us why?
Well, it's sort of a name that I gave myself, actually, Stefany. So I'm actually originally from Bermuda, and so islands are my passion. And when I discovered the Caribbean in the 80s, I decided that I was going to build a little business of just this cool, small, privately owned hotels in the Caribbean. So between the 80s and now, it's a long time, over 35 years, I have gone to nearly every island in the Caribbean, if not all the islands. Maybe a few like St. Eustatius I haven't been to, Saba. But apart from that, I've been to all the islands in the Caribbean, and I represent just the best hotels in the Caribbean. So I've named myself Queen of the Caribbean. I came up with this funny little caricature, which my body actually looked like that, and it stuck. And it's stuck. Everybody calls me the Queen of the Caribbean now. And so, for many a travel advisor like yourself, they come to me when their clients want to go to the Caribbean that don't want to go to a chain generic hotel, but are looking for something that is very different, that has a very caring ownership, management, high level of service, accommodations, cuisine. And so, for people like you who, can't have traveled as much as to the Caribbean because you traveled the world, I become your girl in the know, your person in the know on the Caribbean. And if I don't know it, I know somebody who does know it,
That's right.
in the Caribbean.
Well, and
So,
knowing you, that's a perfect title, and I love this picture here.
yeah, I probably need to update it a little bit.
I love it.
Anyway,
It works.
so
So here's our first location, and I know Aruba has been named one of the best dream beaches of the world. Can you tell us
yes.
why it has that name?
Well, I tell you what, one of the things that you asked was that if we could put the slides in sort of order of opening dates. And so I'm pleased to say that the Caribbean, first of all, is very welcoming of Americans. And that seems so weird to even say, but there's not many, not all the places in the world that are at this point. So the Caribbean is very welcoming of Americans, and Aruba was probably one of the first islands opened. And so they opened up actually on the 10th of July. And our property in Aruba is it's small by Aruba standards. It's about 100 rooms, and it sits on Eagle Beach. And there are many publications, National Geographic, Condé Nast Traveler, who have named Eagle Beach in Aruba the dream beach, because they like to say, more beach than bathers, and than people. And it is right in front of Bucuti. Actually, it's 14 acres of beach for 100 guests. That's pretty amazing to have that.
Yeah, that's huge.
So we're very fortunate that we have that. So if you have people who love to do beach walks, this is one of the most perfect beaches. It's pure white sand. It's blue azure water. And because it's so far south and out of the hurricane belt, you never have to worry about it in September and October. And can I tell you the other thing that's nice, having traveled together with you, Stefany, to the Caribbean? There's very little to no humidity in Aruba.
That's lovely.
So you do not get Caribbean hair in Aruba, which I love. I think is a great thing. It is a great thing.
California, and I have to say the one thing that Danielle and I miss the most is the no humidity factor there. Because now that we live in Charleston, it's like, whew, brace yourself. The summer comes. It's
yes, yeah.
Wow.
Well, ditto in Bermuda. I mean, I remember that we would, take our bathing suits off after a day of swimming, and we grew up very sort of bohemian. Spent summers just in bathing suits and on the water, and hang it up at night to dry, and the next day it would still be a little damp. So that was great fun. But if you go to the next one, you'll get a real feel of what Bucuti's about. I mean, that's very rare in Aruba to find that. And the other thing that you need to know about this wonderful property, Bucuti Tara, is that it is an adult only. There's no children under the age of 18. And so very often people do want to sort of get away from it all and away from families. And so that in itself is very nice to have an all adult property. But then also, if you see that we already had, this is pre-COVID, these pictures are, because we only opened up July the 10th. So we already had the social distancing on the beach very much in place. So that, you know, our chairs are really far apart. You just say, I'd like my chair over here. And the nice thing is there's a little flag system, and you can get drinks and lunches and you know, brought to you throughout the day just by raising your flag. So that is a pretty spectacular beach, as you can see.
It is, and I love how it's spaced out. And here we have the pool.
Yep, the pool. And again, being adult only, there's no kids splashing around in the pool, screaming. It is so peaceful. And, you know, I think that peace is a commodity that we're all very short of, and you can really get it here. And it's unusual because people don't think that you can find this in Aruba, because it's very much a go-go island, and there's, you know, lots of things to do and lots of restaurants to go to. But here you can have it at Bucuti Tara. So if you go to the next one, Stefany, I think you'll be able to see that we have our, it's beautiful actually. So that is one of our restaurants. We have actually 2 restaurants on the property, and a lounge, another additional lounge where we serve breakfast as well. And that sunset is legendary. It really is. So that is our restaurant. I was down there in September, and I was on a quite strict keto diet, and they were able to adhere to it. As you can see, gluten-free, vegan, there's no issues whatsoever. In fact, we're very much into wellness. We do lots of wellness at Bucuti Tara Beach Resort in Aruba.
That's great.
Go to the next one.
Yeah, a lot of people have dietary restrictions. And congrats, by the way, because I know Elements was named one of the top 10 fine dining restaurants in the Caribbean. So that is awesome. And
yes.
You also have this great experience, the chef's table, which I think is perfect for foodies.
Yes, it is. And actually it's only 16 people, and it's all served around the sort of semicircular kind of, you know, tabletop, with the chef cooking in the middle with all your wines and you know, pairings with all your different courses, 16 different courses. And it's got a very long waiting list to get in. Of course, Bucuti guests have preference. So, but it's probably the finest dining experience in all of Aruba. And it really, and deservedly so. So that's just really lovely to have right on property.
It really is. And here we are at the Tryall Club in Jamaica. Now, I understand this property is on a National Heritage Foundation site. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. I mean, look at that. That you can see. Wow. So it sits on 2,200 acres. And the Great House was built in the 1700s. And then in the 50s, it was actually sold off to a group of Americans who decided that they were going to build this world championship golf course on it. And there've been many championship golf tournaments played on that golf course, one of which is the Johnny Walker. People know about the Johnny Walker. And so spread out through all of this, coming away from the 1700s Great House, which actually was at one time a place, it was a working plantation actually. And so we still have the original working water wheel there. And we kept the originality and authenticity on the property, while we've built about 75 homes around the property. So that's what you'll see when you see the homes along the waterfront and up in the hills. That is all Tryall property. And I have to say that right now, coming out of COVID, villas like this at Tryall are really becoming very much the most sought after travel experience. Because, you know, you've been quarantined with your husband. I've been quarantined with my son and my partner, and so, you know, but we haven't been with all our extended family. So lots of times we were saying, you know what, I want to get away with my extended family that I've missed so much during these past 4 months. And no better place to go than to a villa. And what's different about these villas is that they're fully staffed. You have maids, chefs, butlers,
I love that,
laundresses. It's pretty incredible. So nobody has to worry about doing anything. You just get to spend time with the people that you're with. And what makes it even more different is that you sit on this 2,200 basically gated country club community. You've got tennis, you've got golf, you've got beach clubs, you've got, you know, hiking trails, you've got the gym, you've got restaurants. So you can be as involved with the community or as locked away as you want in your own villa. knowing that it's just a golf cart ride away to get to these other facilities.
Yeah, there are tons of activities there. Look at this villa. That looks beautiful.
Yes, that see what's happened is so we actually had some of the original owners from the 50s, and now we've got the next generation that's come in, and whether that might be the son of one of the original owners or family of the original owners. But this one was a little 3-bedroom villa, right? But it had the most glorious view right on the water, and now it's one of our more stunning 5-bedroom villas right on the water. That happens to be called Sunset. It's really fantastic. But I have to say that even if you're up in the hills,
Yeah.
particularly families, children love to ride on golf carts. So you just zip around on golf carts. It's so much fun. And all the golf carts have the names of the villas on them. So you get to know people, and you kind of know. And I was there not too long ago. One of our homeowners is actually Michael Weatherly. And Michael Weatherly, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a famous television actor. He was in NCIS, and he is the actor Bull in Bull, okay, in the TV show Bull. And he owns there, second generation, by the way, to own a villa there. And so we see him around the property, and he sees us, and we know his villa by the name of his golf cart, by the name on his golf cart. He knows us. And we see it, and we get an invitation. Comes up and it says, to the lovely ladies, in Sea Salt, I'd like to invite you to my house for cocktails tomorrow night. How fun is that?
That is so much fun. And of course,
yes.
That comes to you.
Yeah. And so, of course, down we trot to his place. And then, of course, as one must do, you have to reciprocate, and he comes up to us. And so anyway, it was really quite fun. But that happens very often there. It's a very sort of social scene, where people will say, come for cocktails. People don't typically stay for dinner because their own staff is cooking for them in their villas. But the cocktail is a fun thing to do, to go to each other's villas, and that way you get to see other villas too, and you're staying there and say, oh, I like staying, I'm not staying at Sunset, but I might like to stay there the next time, or I might like to stay at Michael Weatherly's villa, which is called Avalon. So anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that just gives you an idea of the pools. Every single one of our villas, we call them luxury estate villas, have private pools and full staffs. So unlike anywhere else, we really have, the staff is hired by the homeowner, and so they do everything for you. When I get there, they say to me, oh, Miss Bull, would you like me to unpack your suitcase? I say, absolutely. Would you like me to press your clothes? Sure. And so, something to the point, again, going back to the Caribbean here, they say, would you like us to dry your hair for you? At which point I say, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah.
It's never gonna look good here. So anyway, but it's such fun, because Jamaicans are just, I don't think there's another island that you can say, I mean, they've been doing the tourism thing for longer, and they love to serve. It's just part of their DNA.
Yeah, no, I've been to Jamaica, and I love the people there, and the vibe and the feeling. It's just a warm, fun feeling. Now, is this in the Great House, or is this outside?
No, the Great House is really just the main Great House. Okay. And then we have some we have what we call we used to have hotel rooms, but we changed them into condos, and we call those Great House villas. Okay. But when they're like this one, which is actually called Hummingbird House, this is a 7-bedroom villa. And so 6 bedrooms, I beg your pardon, but when you see something like this and it's standalone, we call them luxury estate villas. Okay. And they'll probably have 6 or 7 staff that comes with the villa. But the staff is like a big family, knowing how to work together and how to basically service you the best. And people just love it. And they come back year after year, because then the staff, that's like a family, becomes almost like a family to you, who's the guest.
Yeah,
and you want to go back every year. Yeah. So
I get it. No, and I love that just the bonds that you create when you're on the road.
And this would give you an idea of the staff that you would find in the villas. I love this picture, because actually on the left is a gardener at Sea Salt, and he's gone around and collected all of the bougainvillea from all around the property, and that's going to be in your rooms, as a centerpiece on your tables. And then that would be the ladies on the right. That would be sort of, your maid, your cook, your laundress, that really take really good care of you. And they're just so cute. And they're just, I mean, when I go to these villas, I just fall in love with every single one of them. The staff is amazing.
Oh, I can imagine. That's That's awesome. Uh-oh.
So
There she is again.
a little overkill on this, but so we're trying to sort of keep in with which ones open first. And so we had Bucuti and Tara in Aruba opening up July the 10th. Then we have Tryall opening up on August the 1st. And again, with those villas, lots of people are going to do that. Nonstop flights, being able to do the expedited, go through customs and immigration in Jamaica on the way in, on the way out. And so we're doing it in the order. So on opening on August the 6th, we have property, and this is where my reign continues. My reign as queen continues, because not only do I have the best, other people think I have the best, because one of my properties, Secret Bay, 6 villas in Dominica, was just named the #1 hotel in the Caribbean by the readers of Travel and Leisure magazine, which is such an honor.
That's huge.
It is huge. And particularly when you think that there are, chain hotels in there. There are the Ritz-Carltons and the Four Seasons and all these lovely, lovely hotels. But the readers decided that a 6-villa resort, Secret Bay in Dominica, was their absolute favorite, scored highest on everything, on accommodations. If you can go to the next slide, you can see what I'm talking about. The next slide will show you just how special they are. I mean, that you can see how far spaced they are. Again, this is what people are going to be looking for. As you know, Stefany, from selling, to your clients, people are going to be looking for natural distancing, but with all of the amenities. Right. And that's what we have at Secret Bay. That is a villa right there that that's only for 2 clients. That one you see right on the cliffside, but all of these, as you go along, are really only for 2. For a couple, sometimes we have a couple of villas called the Tife villas, which are on 2 levels, that we can take families with young children. Like I just had a family with somebody who had asked for a family with a 6 and 8-year-old, and that works well in the Tife villas. But you can see that they're all just beautifully spaced, 6 villas. And then very cool thing, if you can go to the next one, I think you can see an interior. Yeah. So the really cool thing is that they all have the private pools, like you see here. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things was that they had a beanbag hammock. I actually am looking at my hammock right now. I love a good hammock, but their beanbag hammock just blew me away. I wanted to sleep there, except that the bedroom was, so there it is. That's cool. The beanbag hammock with all the great cushions in it. I wanted to sleep there, except that their bedrooms were so fantastic. But when I woke up here, the first morning that I woke up here, because I actually arrived a little late at night, and from another island, I was staying in another island, and when I woke up here, I said, I must have done something right in my life to wake up here, because the view is simply spectacular. And you know what's really great? You have one attendant for your entire stay who is there fixing everything for you. So when you wake up there in the mornings, you have your breakfast prepared for you in your villa. And then she says, breakfast is served, and you come up from your beanbag hammock or your pool, and for a beautiful, beautiful breakfast. So
that's lovely. And it's all about that view. And the thing that I think is so cool is that you can explore a sea cave there. And I know not everybody is familiar with Dominica. So can you tell us some of the other experience they can have there?
Yes, I mean, Dominica is an island that is just so rich in adventure. Like when I was there, actually, I did snorkel into that sea cave. I'm a tad claustrophobic as I get older, and so I said, okay, enough. I want to come back out again. But I did go in there. But right outside that sea cave, there's a lot of lionfish, and this lionfish is a crazy thing. You know about the lionfish, and Stefany. Yeah. So to spear a lionfish is really quite is sort of considered a really good thing in all throughout, because the lionfish have made their way from Florida all the way up the coast. They're actually even in Bermuda. I don't know how they swam across that big Atlantic to get to Bermuda, but they have no natural predator in the Caribbean or the Atlantic, and they just kill everything. Yeah. So, and they happen to be delicious to eat. So when I did the snorkeling into the sea cave, I came out, and then we speared a lionfish. Wow. And then we brought it back to Secret Bay, and the chef came to my villa, and he cooked up I'm
Wow.
still, by the way, on that keto diet. I might live on this. I might live on this keto diet for the rest of my life. But anyway, and so he cooked up this lionfish for me right in my villa.
So fresh.
Just fresh. I mean, there's nothing better than fresh fish,
Right.
right out of the water. You can't, it's indescribable, the difference between store-bought and fresh out of the water fish. And so he cooked it up for me right there. And it was just, I mean, it's one of those pinch me moments, like, is this really my life that I get to do this?
Yeah,
So,
it really makes
and
it special, especially when you caught it. And so no, kudos to you for catching that, because I know they're not the friendliest of fish out there.
no, you have to free dive down to get them. So I had a little help. Truth be known, I had a little help from my guide. So they have a boat, their own boat at Secret Bay, and they take you out there to do that. And it was really great fun. But going back to the bed, now you see here, so that's all made up. But when it's not made up, everything's very sort of plush and lovely, and it is, I mean, just heaven on earth to be here at Secret Bay. And all the little touches. The floors are made of a special wood, and it's called Purple Heart wood. And it just, there's nothing that feels like it in America. It's Purple Heart wood, and you really want to go with your shoes off. In fact, we always say, barefoot elegance, please remove your shoes, and you want to. It just is so special.
That's awesome.
So that's, and that's a tub. And then they have outdoor showers, and I love a good outdoor shower, not one that is a purpose-built, not like we had in camp, go shower over here. It's really one that's
a little more luxurious.
So much more luxurious. But their touches are fantastic. And all the products are local Dominican products. So anyway, since we were talking about awards, and that Secret Bay, won the #1 in the Caribbean. So there is a family in St. Lucia, the Trubetskoy family, and they own 2 properties in St. Lucia. One of them is Jade Mountain, which we'll be showing next, and the other is Anse Chastanet. And they are side-by-side properties. Jade Mountain is the sort of crowning hilltop glory of Anse Chastanet, and you'll see why I say that. But both of these properties have been on that travel and leisure list for the past 10 consecutive years. And so they are actually a rare thing. They call it the Travel and Leisure World Hall of Fame, because not too many places can say that. Because any place could be great for a year and be very in vogue for a year, and then be very out the next year because of change of management, which means change of staff. But when you have a family-owned property for generations upon generations, and the next generation is now at the property, Yasha Trubetskoy and his wife are now at the property, and it really does give you that consistency from year to year, so that you can make that Hall of Fame list for 10 years in a row. So now let's unveil what makes Jade Mountain so special.
Here's the piton. That view is just amazing,
isn't it? Oh. And that is Jade Mountain. And people say, I don't understand. What is it? But those rounds, the round that you see, those are actually rooms and pools. In fact, they're so large. We don't call them rooms. We call them sanctuaries.
Yeah.
So we call them, and we name them Sky, Star, Moon, Sun, and then the penultimate is the Galaxy Sanctuary. And those are the very large ones. And I think the next slide will show you a Galaxy Sanctuary. No, actually, this one will show you the kind of the lay of the land from the other side. Really so pretty. This is what, isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. So and people always go, like, looks like a spaceship ready to take off, but actually what it is, when you realize what it is, so that is it. So everything has an open wall, as you can see. Somebody came to me today and said, so is it air conditioned? I said, no, it's got an open wall. So it's an open wall, and the reason that you see all those different color lights is because every room has a private pool. And so the private pools, they have fiber optic lights. And so we have butlers there. We call them major domos. And they can turn the fiber optic light to whatever color. So that's why you see the different glows from the different rooms. Like the one on the top left there, I guess they were feeling a very red that day or very orange that day. And so they said that one too. And there were some people who were feeling a little blue. So anyway, somebody on the far right was feeling a little sunny and got the yellow light. But anyway, that just gives you an idea of how incredible it's laid out. And because the water circulates and there's always the noise of water, because people will say, can you hear from each room to each room? You actually can. There's very thick walls between and long bridges to get over to each of these sanctuaries. And the water's flowing through, so you actually don't hear anything but the person that you're with and the birds that fly in and out. So
cool. Now, how do you get to the beach? Because I know it sits higher up. Is it easy to get to the beach?
Oh, very. So, and that would be, just to show you, that's the Galaxy Sanctuary. So at night you have this outline of the pitons, which is sort of very ominous and mysterious and romantic at the same time. So, but just gives you the size of the pools. So yeah, like I was saying, we're the crowning glory mountaintop of, there you go. That's a great picture. It shows you. So because of the fact that we have these major domos, these butlers, they actually, you have a phone and you just say to your butler, oh, Al, it's Karen, and I'd like to go down to the beach. Oh, okay, Miss Karen, no problem. And they send you a car and it takes you down to the beach. And so, it's very easy. And when you're down at the beach, you call your butler again, your major domo, and you say, Al, I'd like to come back up, and back up you go. So it really does work very well.
Yeah, very convenient.
Yeah, and people just love it. It's, can I tell you that I've heard so many stories from honeymooners, from couples on anniversary trips, because it really is very romantic and more of a couple's place, not really a family place, and we don't really take children anyway under the age of 14, but because maybe their voices you could hear, but it's so many times people say you open that door to your sanctuary and the view overcomes you so much that you tear up. And that's what so many people say about being at Jade Mountain. So if you see Jade Mountain, that's the one that's in the top, sort of straight up at 12 o'clock. And then as you come down, the green roofs, that's all the resort of Anse Chastanet. So at Jade Mountain, you can use all of the world at Anse Chastanet's resort, as well as being very exclusive and private up at Jade Mountain, because when you're at Anse Chastanet, your world doesn't extend to Jade Mountain, but at Jade Mountain, your world extends all the way down through Anse Chastanet as well. So you have all throughout these little green roofs, you have, again, three-walled accommodations, and looking straight out over the pitons again. And what they've done there is they've kept it, again, very indigenous and very authentic. As the owner says, we're not part of the beige brigade. She does not believe that rooms should be beige. And I think if you go to the next picture, you might see a picture of a room. Yeah. That is all local art, local madras. If you go to St. Lucia, you'll see that this madras, this plaid, they use throughout. The staff wears it. They might wear it as a turban. They might wear it as a belt. But it, when you don't know what it is, you could go, what is that? But then when you're there, you fall in love with it because there's all different colors and it's all locally made. So, and that would be one of our premium hillside accommodations, looking, as you could see, like right out over the pitons.
That's perfect. And I mean, that's what I love about St. Lucia is this gorgeous view, but it's so dynamic because you have the Piton Mountains, but then you also have a rainforest and waterfall. So, I mean, there's so many things to do for a family or even for a couple, whoever wants to go. There's so many different things to do, which is cool.
Yes. Incredible. It really is incredible. Wow. So yeah. I think if you go to the next one, I think you might see, okay, so now you're going to see one of my favorite accommodations. I just love this because this is actually called the beach house. It was a manager's house. They must have booted him out because it's a little stone cottage right on the beach with gardens all around. It's all by itself. And it just feels like, you've stopped the world and you're on this beach and you can just walk out to the beach any time of the day or night and just, sit under the stars. I must say, when you're in the Caribbean and you look up and see the stars, and because there's no pollution there, yeah, stars are so incredibly bright in the Caribbean. So anyway, so that's my little favorite accommodation. And that doesn't have 3 walls. It has 4 walls. So therefore it is air conditioned. So that helps the hair a little bit.
It does.
Anyway, so those 2 properties, as I say, were they are opening up. That property is actually opening up on July the 24th. And it's a little bit further in the presentation only because I wanted to put it in the ones that have won the awards and to put it next to the property, because those are down the southern part of the island by the pitons. But there's two very different dynamic sides of the island. Have you been, Stefany, to St. Lucia?
Yeah.
To both sides of the island?
Not both sides. And to be honest with you, it was a long time ago. We had only been there for a day. It was off of a Royal Caribbean cruise. So I wouldn't even be able to tell you exactly where I was, but wherever we were, we had a great view of the pitons. So
oh, okay. Then you were probably down in the Soufriere area.
probably.
So Maison also was named like number 12 on the list of top Caribbean resorts. And it is on the northern side of St. Lucia. And what makes it so different is that it's villa suites. It's very sort of Spanish Mediterranean in its look. If you go to the next slide, I think you can see what I'm talking about. So this just gives you an idea. So it's sort of the Spanish Mediterranean, and there's only 50 rooms and 17 swimming pools. Because everywhere you look, you see swimming pools, whether they're on the rooftop, on the grounds, there are swimming pools everywhere. So if you've got those couples, if you've got the couples or the families that say they want to have an accommodation with a private pool, you come to the right place, because there are pools on the rooftop, as I said, pools on the grounds. We actually even have, 3 of our own hotel pools that you can go to with their service. But this is, again, what people are going to be looking for. These villas and villa suites that are really self-contained, that you can have a kitchen, a chef can come in and prepare food for you. And speaking of chefs, their food is really legendary. I mean, they've got a chef who's won Caribbean Chef of the Year, for a few years in a row. He's actually a white Welsh Rastafarian.
Wow.
Oh, bodybuilder. Let me add that to one of his adjectives too. He's a white Welsh Rastafarian bodybuilder. And he's a gentle man with no ego and with cooking skills off the charts. So,
wow.
He together with the general manager are very much both into food and wine. And so you have many experiences. The general manager likes to say you have about 47 different experiences. Okay, we're going to zip along now here because I think we're taking a lot of time. Yeah. But we're going to now move into a very unusual island, but an island that has a really cool center town called Willemstad. Baoase is on the island of Curacao. So you know about the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao in the Dutch Caribbean, Dutch Antilles. And Curacao is actually larger than Aruba, but lesser known. And that's because there's no really big hotels to speak of on the island of Curacao. So this is a little gem. It's actually owned by a family, and that's Bibi and Ad and Adrian, they call him, and well, his name is Bibi and Adrian, and they call him Ad. But anyway, it's only 23 rooms, and it is the most perfect little place. If you want to see that lovely, that beach is like everything's built onto the beach. Accommodations are built right onto the beach. It is a very special place. And then this island, actually, you see they got a heliport too, but that island actually cuts a lot of the a lot of the sort of breakwater from the ocean. So it's a lovely calm beach. And so you can build right on the beach and not have to be so fearful. This is my favorite accommodation there. These are the beachfront pool suites. They are uber sexy, just wonderful. And you've got, I don't know if we have any interior views of these, but that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's the interior view. If you can see the lights on the left-hand side of our screen,
yeah,
those are all shells, and actually it's matched on the ceiling above your bed. The shells, and not ticky-tacky, but lovely, is a mirror up there. So, which is, because some mirrors can be kind of gross. It's not. Everything's so tastefully done. Yeah. So the reason it's called Baoase, which people really struggle with that name, and I did too before I started representing it, is because, as I was saying about the family that owns it, it's Bibi and Adrian or Ad. So that's the B and the A. And because it's on a Dutch island, Oase is actually oasis in Dutch. So it's Bibi and Adrian's oasis. So Baoase.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And that feeling of it being their private oasis, you feel throughout the property. I have to tell you, I just got there. I knew it was going to be lovely. I didn't expect it to be as lovely as it really was. It was such a wonderful, wonderful place. And you know, Stefany, how often we have to travel by ourselves alone. And it's it's one of those places I said, what in the world am I doing here by myself?
Yeah.
But that's the glamorous side of our jobs, right? So anyway, I was not by myself when I came here. I was with you, Stefany.
Yes, we were. And that was one of the most amazing trips ever. We stayed at the Rock Cottage, as you know, and the view from there is just, I mean, it had me at hello. I'll take it any day. But what I really loved was how that one day we went to Sheer Rock for lunch. And I loved that we didn't have to go to a marina. We just went right down to our private dock and got right into the boat. It, you know, took us away, and everything was just so exclusive and screamed luxurious about that. And it was just an amazing experience.
It is. Well, you want to take your cursor up and show where Rock Cottage is, where we stayed? Can you do it?
I don't know if it's.
No, I'm talking about this little white one. Oopsie, nope. So sorry. I've messed you up. Sorry. Well, okay. So up in the top corner is that whole peninsula. That's where Stefany and I stayed, in Rock Cottage. So it's got its own private dock right there. And so even though it's a property, again, second generations, a lot of these properties that are really special in the Caribbean, it's pioneers who went to the Caribbean and purchased land before it was really popular. So 50 years ago, the family that owns Blue Waters, the Randall family, the father bought Blue Waters. And now the next generation, Gary, has come in with his wife, Buzzy, and they have gone about redoing it. So it's made it much more contemporary with beautiful bones. And actually, to buy this sort of property now and build only 100 rooms, because they've got 17 acres, you couldn't do that now because you wouldn't be able to afford to buy the property and then put so few rooms on it. You'd have to max it out with 400 rooms to get your money back. But when it's been the family for a long time, these things can happen. And then again, you get the staff that's been there that just knows everybody, that works together like a well-oiled machine. And so this is the lobby, which we spent a little bit of time in because there's a little bar off the lobby. We had great fun there. So that gives you an idea of even though it's old, it's new again. And so that's what they've done at Blue Waters. And so I just want to give you an idea of that not only do we have rooms and suites like the Cove suites, we also have, if you go to the next one, Stefany, we also have, that have been redone. I think with the next one, I'll show you the 3-bedroom Cove penthouses, which is very unusual because in the Caribbean, you very often have 2 bedrooms, but not 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to show you ours too, aren't we? Are we going to share our villa? I think we are. That's co-bathrooms. That's actually our least expensive room. Very, very reasonably priced. And just so you know, we do have sort of availability at most of our properties for festive. So if you have clients who are looking for Thanksgiving and festive, I've got a whole listing of what we have available for Thanksgiving and festive to share with you, Stefany. So that if anybody calls. Yeah, so this is Pelican. I happen to love Pelican. It's actually a 6-bedroom. It's 2, 3 side by side 3 bedrooms. So if it's a family that likes to be together but wants a little bit of separation, one can be on one side of the 3-bedroom, the other can be on one side of the 3-bedroom, but then they all come together with the pool, and there's a private beach right below you. So that's Pelican, and I think the next one will show you some interiors of Pelican, and just see if you can just keep moving along because we're kind of talking like that. There's our place. That was our place, and that's the beach we swam to. Remember?
Yep. I love that too.
Why don't you talk about it?
Because our mission, it was hilarious. Our one mission for each of us, that had the drinks on. I can't remember what we used, but we used a little floaty to carry the drinks on, and our big mission was to make it from there to the beach without spilling the drinks.
That's right, because you can only get to that beach by water, so we had to swim it.
Yeah.
And by God we did.
And we did not spill any drinks, I might add. So we did well.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, that is Rock Cottage. I mean, again, having the 5 bedrooms and us all being there, and we've all stayed very close after that, I think. And that's what, if we can do that as strangers coming together, I mean, literally, I mean, almost strangers. I mean, you didn't know some of the other people on the trip. Can you imagine a family doing that, or a group of friends doing that? It's a very bonding experience to be together in a villa.
Oh, it is. I know. And I think a lot of us, we still remember that, you know, that lovely evening eating dinner, you know, outside there. You can't see it in this picture, but it was just beautiful kind of looking at that same view. And we were listening to Depeche Mode. And so now every time I hear certain Depeche Mode songs, I think of Rock Cottage, and it just makes me smile.
Yeah. And that's, as I say, that's what happens with the families. But there you go. That's where we were sitting. We were sitting outside there. That was our table. Stefany, see it?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, with a private chef, you know, cooking for us. It was really very special, really, really special. And your bedroom, I think, was right behind there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, yeah, and we had the 2 pools. So let's move into Bermuda now. And as I say, you know, I'm from Bermuda, and it's crazy to me that it's only 2 hours away from the East Coast, and some islands, some gateways is even less than 2 hours. Very sophisticated island, and it has not really announced when it's open now. But their protocols are ridiculous. And we'll talk about a little bit about protocols at the end here. So the Reefs, it looks like it's probably going to be opening up August the 1st. And I must say that to me, the tail end of the summer in Bermuda is really a spectacular time. October, for anybody who knows Bermuda, October is the most preferred month in Bermuda because the humidity is coming down, the latent heat in the ocean is still very warm, and you can't get any closer to, you know, an island any closer than that. So if you can go to the next slide, Stefany, I think it will just show you some sort of interiors of the rooms. So these are the rooms, very, you know, they don't want to compete with the outside because the colors outside are so vibrant, so they kept it very sort of, you know, understated inside. And so, you know, these are the rooms and the bathrooms, and that is your view. Those breakwaters you see, those are all boiler reefs. So for snorkelers, that's some of the best snorkeling around Bermuda is to be found right off the reefs. And then the sun sets directly in front of you because you're facing due west. And so it's really fantastic. And this has, again, been in the Todwell family since the 70s. And now the next generations come in to run it. And again, as I say, that really makes for a very caring experience within an accommodation.
Love that. No, it looks
so look, and that truly is pink sand. So I do this to show you. I put these next to each other because actually the owner of the Reefs in Bermuda, and this is how I got into the Caribbean, actually, because he in 1989 bought a property in the Caribbean. He bought Nisbet Plantation Beach Club on the island of Nevis. And so what you're looking at right now, 30 rooms, and this is what they call the Avenue of the Palms. Again, it was a coconut plantation, and there are 1,200 palm trees throughout this property, and that is very distinctively goes from the Great House, which is where you'll be sitting in right now, all the way down to the beach. So it's almost like, you know, pave the way. I'm coming through the palm trees, the Avenue of the Palms. It's one of the most photographed things in all of the Caribbean. It's pretty spectacular. And then all the little sort of lanai set up throughout the palm trees. So, you know, it's probably got the widest white sand beach on the island of Nevis, palm trees everywhere. It's quite amazing. So if you go to the next one, I think you'll see the Great House, and that's the Great House. So the Great House was actually built again in the 1700s, loads of history, and it's got very much a house party feel. It's like the general manager who's there, you know, will be there serving you cocktails, talking to you. The other guests, you know, just absolutely, you know, are there all the time. As I say, it's like a house party on the beach. It's got that environment, great for families. All right, so then I think our last one as we go along. No, that was our last one. So Stefany, I think it's been a fun time with you.
I know. Thank you so much. And I want to also say congratulations on securing Guana Island and the BVIs. I'm so excited to get to speak to you about that in our next video. Because I know it's a tough time during COVID, so That's great.
Well, I tell you, I'm thrilled about it because I actually went to see Guana in March and came back pretty much the day that they closed everything down.
Wow.
So that was a trip that was sort of, like to sort of take on the property. And then they said, oh, I don't know about the timing's good. But then they recognized the value of travel advisors and that they need to spread the word through travel advisors because, again, being a private island, spread out and having little cottage suites and villas throughout on 850 acres for only 30 guests. That is an incredible thing to have that many, to have that sense of space and time. And so, yeah, let's do our next one. And I just want to sort of talk a little bit about some of the protocols that are in place in the islands, because like I had said, and hopefully we're not going to, do I have time, Stefany?
I don't know. I mean, according to my time, we should have been cut off a while ago, but it still says recording on my end. So
okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, let's just keep talking till we get cut off then. So, because we both are good talkers.
Yeah, we are.
We are both great talkers. But I just want to talk about the fact again that that Americans are very welcomed at all these islands. And one of the things that I think that this whole thing with COVID is almost been like a little reset button, like reset, the world. We're resetting the world. Yeah. And so, reset the world. We want to maybe come back in this and come back in a much more wise way, because there was over tourism and places were getting ruined by over tourism. So now we can come back in a much more sensible way, and that is protection of the communities, because let's face it, travel is a luxury and it's a privilege, and when you travel you're going to somebody else's community. Yeah. And so it's a matter of sort of training, and I consider myself as American as the next person because I actually am an American citizen now. But we've gotten so spoiled here that we think it's all about us. But we have to go there and know that we have to leave that community that we've gone to visit for the next person to visit, and as good, if not better, than we found it. And so all these protocols are really in place so that protection of you, the traveler, and protection of the community. So we're asking that people take COVID tests. Most of them are 72 hours to 5 days before. And we're asking that you might, do a rapid test when you get there. Most places aren't. They might do a temperature check, when you get off the flight. If you're exhibiting symptoms, then you go in for a rapid test. But for some reason, their tests are much faster than ours. We know really quickly, and so it's just really protection of, and of course, everything has been, we've always been, I mean, particularly within the small hotels, they've always adhered to very high standards, I said, of accommodations. So it's always sort of been a given. We've just stepped it up again, to the next level in compliance with what the CDC and WHO is asking us to do. So anyway, that's just kind of a word on protocols, and they're in place for a reason, and it's really for protection of you and the community. And we welcome Americans, and we really want them, and frankly, all these islands are dependent upon tourism, so they need them as well.
That's true. That's true. And I'm sure Americans can't wait to get back and have some fun in the sun again. So, so I look forward to working with you soon. And
well, Stefany, and as you know, you being part of Largay Travel, and your GMC Travel being an affiliate of Largay Travel, which is a member of Virtuoso, you are near and dear to us. There is nothing that we won't do for you and your clients to ensure that they have an amazing stay at our properties. So all you have to do is just reach out, and let us know, and we will make sure that your clients have the trip of a lifetime. So
I love that. Thank you, and I appreciate that. And I know I'll be reaching out to you, and we're already in contact. So that's great. Everybody, stay tuned for our next video on Guana Island and the BVIs, and that'll be fun.
All right.
Have a great rest of the day, Karen.
You too. Stay well. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.